Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me and allowing me to continue to be your daily advocate. If you're new here or you're not subscribed for any reason, please do me a huge favor and hit the subscribe button. Thank you to all of you who have been watching and following me for so long. It truly means a lot, and I'm glad that I can be this person.
Every once in a while, as we grow, as we go down this road, and we get ever so closer to the clarity that this space needs, to the ultimate destination of where we want XRP to be and Ripple as a company to be, we have to turn around and say, hey, with the perspective that we have today, what does the information that we've learned from yesterday and the days and months and years before look like with the vision that we understand today? And that's exactly what we're going to do right here. We start with Digital Asset Investor showing us that this is the reason we ask sometimes if we'll be able to keep our XRP. It's not a crazy question, in my opinion. He says $20.67 per troy ounce was paid for your gold when they forced everyone to turn it into the Fed in 1933. They can do anything under the national security banner. That's where we start today, because exactly what they did in 1933. And after they took the gold, they actually jacked the price up. Watch this clip.
April 5th, 1933, FDR confiscated every gold coin, bullion, and certificate. People had to basically turn in their gold to the federal government. If not, they face up to 10 years in prison or a $10,000 fine. That's almost $179,000 in today's money. Now, you were able to keep a small amount or rare coins, but those who did give up their gold got about $20 an ounce. So why did the government do this? Well, to prevent hoarding, devaluing the dollar during the Great Depression. And then the Federal Reserve set the gold price at $35, pegging the dollar to the commodity. But this could never happen again, right? Well, tell that to Texas. The state is contemplating a bill to create the Texas Bullion Depository to protect its own gold. The state would abandon its storage in New York and move their gold stateside. And if the government comes for it, Texas is prepared to fight with the 10th Amendment, arguing that states' rights trump any confiscation order by the federal government.
So there you have that. Now, why are we asking that question? Because today we have some information that force at least me, and I know many others that I get contacted by, to ask the question that we asked almost a year ago. Could we see, and truthfully, I started the channel with the understanding that there would be some kind of a price set for XRP. I've always believed that the Fed is behind it, the Treasury is behind the use of it ultimately. I really do believe these things, my speculation. But today we're looking at the White House wants crypto rules as a matter of national security. Again, under executive order, the president was the gold confiscation, and we know that we're about to get an executive order from the White House on cryptocurrencies and stablecoins as a matter of national security. You know, in order to do any kind of seizure or confiscation, they first have to impose some kind of matter of national security or some kind of state of emergency, right? Well, stay with me here. If you remember, it was almost a year ago, we had Attorney Seal and Attorney Hogan, Jeremy Hogan from Legal Briefs, on the channel here, and we discussed exactly that. First, I want to run through you very quickly the Pelican brief here from Attorney Seal. And this was it's incredible layout, and I tell you, tell me as we read this if it doesn't sound like he was predicting the future, because I believe he actually may have been. His theory on March 13th, 2021, when we had our conversation, was simply this. It's all about Ripple's escrow. If Congress declares that regulating digital assets is a matter of national security, again, on March 13th, 2021, right there, right? Well before this executive order was talked about, the federal government could invoke its eminent domain power to expropriate private property for public use. While this power has historically been used to expropriate mainly land, Any private property can be expropriated when within the limits of the Fifth Amendment taking clause, so long as the original owner is provided with just compensation based on fair market value. This, by the way, is where we enter in with Jimmy Valley's The Deal, the proposal that he had where everybody made fun of the $37,500 XRP price that was submitted to the Fed as a buyback offer. Most of you don't realize that I believe what Jimmy Valley did was probably one of the greatest things that anybody could do, just as John Deaton is representing the XRP holders. What he did was submit a proposal that revealed to the Fed that us as retail holders understand the full scale intended use of the asset XRP that we all hold. And should a moment come of an executive order where they go to move to confiscate either retail investors or the escrow, Jimmy Valley was setting what I believe was probably and could become one of the greatest snare traps ever set for a civil lawsuit. Letting the Fed know that we understand the full-scale intended use of this asset, and should you take an action to try to confiscate a forced buyback as you did in gold in 1933 and reset the price after you get it back from us, we'll be taking you to court if you don't offer a true fair market value for the token that retail holders actually hold. Expropriation powers have been invoked to expropriate stocks, leases, and investments that protect contract rights, patents, copyrights, and IP. So technically the government could invoke EP to seize Facebook and turn it into a public utility to protect citizens' privacy and data rights. Another great example, so when regulating digital assets, especially a token as politically demonized as XRP has been, all that would be required for proper government justification would be to file a very public yet frivolous lawsuit which harms or scares the property owners, but that doesn't harm the property itself. Remember, these are not criminal charges in the SEC case, they're civil. While the drama of the lawsuit placates the masses, Congress could essentially pass legislation granting regulatory clarity to the whole industry and invoke EP, eminent privilege, right, to expropriate Ripple's escrow in the name of national security. This may be why the suit specifically avoids asking the court to determine if XRP is a security. This puzzles him. Maybe the suit was not designed to define XRP, but designed to serve as a catalyst to allow it to expropriate it from its original owners. Maybe the suit is just a delay tactic to run interference during a change in administration, and the plan is for Congress, the SEC, to work in concert to legislate XRP's designation. I don't know, but Gensler seems abundantly knowledgeable in crypto to be the liaison to make this happen. This may also be the reason why the suit specifically avoids alleging any fraud from Brad Garlinghouse or Chris Larson. This puzzles him also, perhaps because fraud charges could lead to the determination of criminality or even prison, which would harm the very property the government is trying to expropriate, thus rendering it tainted, undervalued, or even undesirable for global adoption by other central banks. So, why has the XRP price been suppressed all these years? Well, we should really be asking who would ultimately benefit from the suppressed price XRP if the master game plan was to expropriate it and pay just compensation to the original owners. Anyone know what is the plus or fair or minus fair market value on 55 billion XRP? So this theory is at all accurate. If this theory is at all accurate, XRP will not only survive the suit, but it's destined to flourish a pre-planned design. However, that may come at the cost of Ripple's escrow being expropriated and used to pad the Federal Reserve for maybe the next 200 years. I have no idea how that will all play out. And B, this is my Pelican Brief theory. Don't hate. I don't have any answers, so please keep your shorts on. Just recognize that nothing as financially significant as this would ever be left to chance, a judge, or happen by coincidence without the right planned government actors. I do believe this. Jeremy Hogan chimed in 2 days after, or a day after that, and says, confiscation of the escrowed XRP would certainly be within executive powers. See the Gold Reserve Act of 1933, which we showed you. But in a twist of irony, the Fed would have to declare XRP a currency before confiscation, which really points to the U.S. Treasury and FSOC and the Fed, because they're a part of that whole systemically important financial market utility designation that we talk so much about here. David Schwartz even remarks a few days later, it would be interesting to see what would happen in a case like that. There's really no way to predict it. It would be similar to what would happen if the NSA found Satoshi and forced him to give up his keys. Would the Bitcoin community respond by making his Bitcoin unspendable? Well, now this is probably our biggest ace in the hole that David, I believe, is pointing to here, is that the XRP ledger is in fact decentralized, and they can vote on what they want to do. They could vote as a collective on the ledger, and they could vote to actually what? Burn the escrow if they wanted, and if they get an 80% or whatever stronger approval, that's exactly what could happen. What's interesting here is that that could be our leverage as retail holders, that they not piss us all off and be happy with just getting the escrow potentially, and allowing all of us to be some of the most incredibly wealthy investors and lucky investors, because I believe the idea is ultimately to get it out of our hands, whether we choose to sell at certain points that we already have planned, or whether it's through some kind of a buyback scenario, or just the fact that we see Ripple buying it off the secondary market, draining the retail liquidity pool and moving that pool where it's actually supposed to be, which is for the institutions, for the financial world, which will bring the utility and liquidity to the asset itself. Now, with that being said, I'm going to play this clip right here for you, which is just a couple minutes, and I will refer you to this entire interview right here, which is Ripple XRP exclusive XRP attorney, Seal, and Jeremy Hogan. If the US government wants escrowed XRP, it will have it. And you're going to hear him say it again right here. So let's take a listen.
If somebody was to realize that XRP could potentially, replace, or sort of displace the US as having, the global reserve currency of the world, I mean, what better way than to secure 50 billion of that asset to ensure that the U.S. remains, the sort of, bastion of sort of financial direction that the world takes, right? So I mean, again, a lot of things have to go into place, but I mean, it is nice, I always need something to hang my hat on, whether, and that's what judges look for too, right? I mean, you always look for some type of theory that you hang your hat on, and I guess that was the whole point behind what I put forth there, right? Is that, hey, it may not be happening, but it's definitely a possibility. And when you start looking at things that sort of have come into play, why would the SEC bring a lawsuit against Ripple, 7 or 8 years after the alleged incident, and then the commissioner that heads the commission quits the next day, and most of the commissioners are gone, and you've kind of got a bunch of people in an ill-timed lawsuit, asking for the wrong things. I mean, it makes you wonder if it's just a delay tactic to sort of, for something greater. So, again, it is all speculation, but certainly as a lawyer, I mean, we just try to make our best sense of things, and sometimes when things piece together nicely, I mean, they make a good argument to hang your hat on, right, Jeremy?
Absolutely. Well, what Seal just said is, I'm not one to rain on a good speculation parade, so I'm going to go with you guys here. So here's my take on it. So if the U.S. government wants the escrowed XRP, it will have it. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt in my mind. And I think most U.S. citizens that aren't involved in law in any great detail don't realize how exposed we are to our government. There's only two things that separates that XRP, if the government wants it, from Ripple and the government. One, there's your vote, because if people think that they're going to lose their vote and get kicked out of office if they do something, they won't do it. And two, there's the U.S. Constitution.
And that's where we have it. And to the point of the vote, not only is there the political vote that he referenced, again, there's the vote that can happen on the ledger from the entities that are running and controlling the ledger, and whatever is the strongest vote wins. And that may end up playing to our strength. I believe David Schwartz was hinting to that aspect of it. Now, as far as confiscating the ledger, again, it's as simple as look, it's going to be released every month. It is released every month. Ripple is the steward of that escrow. They've been amazing as that. However, it was a matter of national security executive order on crypto and stablecoins. You could find that directive pushing some entity like the Treasury, the Fed, and FSOC and OFAC related to that as the entities that really become the sheriff that makes that decision as a matter of national security. They're going to receive that escrow every month from now on. That can happen. What I find interesting about that, and that doesn't affect the way the escrow is released. What I find interesting about this conversation and understanding that there is an executive order that's going to drop any day. Jeremy Hogan, just 3 or 4 days ago here, did you know that the USA has civil forfeiture laws by which the government can seize your property simply by alleging you are engaged in illegal activity and never have to even charge you with a crime? How about that one? Now that's different than eminent domain, but you see there are paths forward here for some kind of power grab. We already see the SEC doing as much when it comes to the SEC versus Ripple case. A reminder, again, the executive order is about crypto and stablecoins and a matter of national security. I happen to think our ace in the hole may just be the fact that you can vote to make amendments and changes on the ledger. And as long as we have that power, that may just keep the US government in check when it comes to the retail holder. Before I get out of here, all this conversation reminds me that we are in a very high risk investment world when it comes to crypto. And I love it. I love the challenges of it. I love the speculation. I love the prospecting of it. I love everything about it. But what I also love is diversifying, and that's why I've been so excited for the first time ever, because of Masterworks, you can invest in blue chip art. I mean, the most incredibly expensive, revered, respected art on the planet. Right here are some examples of that. When we're talking about Basquiat, and I mean Jean-Michel Basquiat here, this is really some incredible artwork, and they're showing historical appreciation rate for his work collectively is 18+%, outperforming the S&P. These are not guarantees. It's just showing you what is the appreciation rate of his work. These works and many other works are in rotation to be available. You have to go to the offering page to see what's currently available. I have bought into a Christopher Wool, which by the way was like 88 or 89% fully filled on how many shares you can buy. Look, at $20 a share, you can buy into this thing. It is a security. I bought $500 worth of $20 a pop into this Christopher Wool, and he's a very famous artist. He's got a great appreciation rate here, and I love this because this is not high risk for me, and this for the first time in my life, I can do like the wealthiest people in the world are doing, which has always been important to me because I want to stack my pennies next to their dollars. That's what I've been doing since I've gotten into investing back in before even crypto. And it's what I continue to do today.
So enjoy your day, everybody. I'm always here for you. Leave any comments or questions below, and be sure to subscribe. But thanks, everybody. I really appreciate you. Enjoy your day, and I always have your back. So thanks so much, everybody.